Hi guys, the wait is over. Please join me as I share my story of how fear delayed me from moving forward with my purpose. I also share a couple of ways that you can identify if fear is stopping you, and I also identify how you can press forward. Please keep in mind all the things I share. For the full podcast, please visit iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, Google, and I'll put in the comments the additional places as well. Thank you so much for helping me to get to 100 subscribers. I appreciate your support. Please subscribe, like, and share, and hit that bell. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the podcast. My very first show. Yay! I have to share with you guys how I came to sitting in this chair and talking on this microphone. I had wanted to set this podcast up for about 5 years. Every single thing or reason that I could think of held me back from not being able to talk for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes long. Just not understanding what my audience would be that I would want to target. I knew that I wanted to help people, but and that we all are born with a natural positive or joy that we have within us, and that a lot of times it's life that happens, and that's what causes us to kind of fall off and lean more towards like the negative side. Or either we have to understand that sometimes if a person is venting about something, it's completely different than them being 100% negative. So I did go ahead and move forward with creating the podcast with those intentions of bringing positivity and wanting to be able to motivate. It took 5 years because I was scared. I had fear, you guys, that pulled up in front of my house and unpacked, and it moved in inside of it. Came out of that 18-wheeler or that U-Haul truck, and it moved in, and it sat here, and it just kicked it with me for about 5 years. And every time I thought about accomplishing any goals that were outside of the norm of going to work from 9 a.m. to 5 or 7 to 4 or 6 to 3, I just would say, nope, not right now. I can't handle that. And it was because I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of what other people were going to think. I was afraid that I would not be successful, was the bottom line. So sometimes when something is a part of your life's purpose, you can't escape it. It's going to keep coming around, and it's going to start nudging you. I started having this feeling, and it would come and I would try to get rid of it. It was this feeling of like that I need to be doing something more, and that I had more that I could give. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And so one day I was sitting at work, and I had this feeling that hit me in my gut. I got up, I left, and I went to call my husband. It was that feeling that you get when you're excited because something good is about to happen. The feeling that you get when, like, the next day you know that your income tax check is going to go into your checking account. The feeling that you get when you know that you're about to go on vacation and you've been waiting to go on this vacation for a very long time. I had that feeling. And I called my husband and I said to him, I have this feeling. I don't know what it is. I feel really excited. It's like an anxious, happy type feeling. And he just listened, and he tried to just say, well, that's good, babe. You know, maybe you'll figure it out, or we'll figure it out. Something good's going to happen. I was driving home that day, and while I was driving, I had a vision, and I pictured myself like with my podcast, and I pictured myself with YouTube. And I also pictured myself back in college. I'm happy to announce that I have started the YouTube channel. I'm here with you on the podcast right now. And I also enrolled back in school so that I could further my education. I am happy to share with you guys that fear no longer has a place here. No longer has a place here. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today with you guys, about that fear that we all get. Sometimes that may come in our life and be there with us for years, and sometimes it might be there just for a couple of months. And I want to make that show today, our kickoff show, all about fear. And this is why I'm here with you guys, because I was able to step aside and let that fear go. So let's talk about what it looked like for me. And then and you might be able to relate because it may show up or be there in the same way for you. For me, it came in the form of intimidation. It came in the form of self doubt. It came in the form of not wanting to fail, but definitely wanting to be successful. It came in the form of, I don't know anybody that's doing this. They're not going to be able to understand, or they're not going to be able to relate. Because even in my small journeys that I was having, like I had went through a little journey where I was doing self-assessment and then self-improvement and working on myself and learning about some other things like meditating, and had an interest in it, and learning about like the power of I am, and learning about telling yourself that you love yourself. And I would try to share it sometimes, and I felt like it wasn't always received very well. It was like, okay, and some people were like, yeah, that's really positive and that's nice. And I've been interested in some of those things too. My journey that I had led me on a journey of eating healthier. And when I took certain things out of my diet, I found that I felt so much better. I had so much energy, and I just felt happy on the inside for no reason at all. Back to when I had called my husband and I had drove home and had that vision of seeing myself with the podcast and the YouTube. That weekend when I got home, I had this feeling. It was like a nudging feeling, and it was pulling me, and I had it like the entire weekend. I sat down and I got a notebook, which I like to write things down whenever I start feeling like that. And so I did that, and it came to me, Authentic Talks. And that's how I came up with the name for the show. And so we checked, and there was no one with that name. Authentic Talks with Shantae is what this show is. And so we were like, yay, that's great. And I was getting all different types of signs, you guys, along the way to let me know that this is what I was supposed to be doing. I'm really excited that I'm here, and I want to share with you other things as well that you might want to look out for. Sometimes fear comes in the form of your finances, where you are afraid to step out and do certain things that you want to do, like purchase a car or buy a home because of your credit. You're going to have to do the work and fix it and do what you need to do to get it in order, but it doesn't mean that it can never happen. I want to encourage somebody here today and let you guys know, like, it's time to let fear go, and that you are so much more than that fear that's holding you back. If you want to write that book, if you're ready to buy that home, if you're ready to get that new car, if you're ready to back to college and become a nurse, if you're ready to go back to college and become a doctor, get that PhD, whatever it is that you're trying to do, I want to encourage you guys to do it. It's time to step forward and push yourself into becoming your greatest self. Fear isn't even a natural thing. It's something that we're taught later on. There's only two fears that we're born with, and one of them is a fear of falling, and the other one is fear of loud sounds. And I know you guys understand that I'm not talking about like fear of scary movies, fear of heights. You're following me. I know that we're just talking about fear that stops you from becoming your greatest self, your most authentic self, is what we're talking about today. I think I was put out of my comfort zone. Sometimes that happens too, where you're taken out of your comfort zone and put in new situations or uncomfortable situations that forces you to do research, that forces you to read, that forces you to learn and have a different understanding. And that's some of my journey that I had to go through. I now have a better understanding of like the Bible, a better understanding of spirituality versus religion, and how they're intertwined, or in what ways they're connected. Some of the greatest things happened in my life for me when I let go of fear. I actually moved here to Arizona from California, and I was thinking I was a Cali girl for life, and a job brought me here. I was afraid to move. I was afraid to leave the beach. I was afraid of what to expect here. Are the people going to be the same? I'm going to be out of my comfort zone, but I did it. I bought my home here, and this is where we are, and I love it. Arizona is really therapeutic. There's Sedona. There's so many different beautiful places here that help you with being able to meditate and find peace and different things like that. I do realize that sitting and talking for 20 minutes or 15 minutes can be tough for some people, and that was one of the things that I definitely had to focus on a lot, was getting over that fear of having to talk about something that was passionate to me or that I really wanted to convey or communicate the message, and worrying about, the little noise in the background and not pronouncing my words correctly. And I've just decided, you know what? That's why it's called authentic talks, because you know what? I am going to have sometimes a in there, and I might have a and in there that I sing, but eventually it will get better. I promise you guys. But I didn't want to let any of those things that I have that I could find about myself that would cause me to delay moving forward with the show and getting this podcast going. I've heard this saying before. It's a quote, and it says, "True failure is when you never try." And that's something that, if you take something away from the show, which I know you will, that's something I want you to take away, is that true failure is when you never try. So here we are. I'm happy to be here with you guys, and I want to share with you a few things that you can do that's going to help you with moving past your fears. Are you ready? All right. The first thing is you can write down your goals. Sometimes seeing it in front of you and writing really helps a lot. Some people call this scripting. Some people say, this is a diary. I just say I have a notebook and I write down what I want to accomplish. Another thing would be a vision board. Vision boards help you to see your goal like there. And a vision board, it's like you actually go as far as to cut out things from a magazine. Like if you know that you want to write a book, I have a buddy that is in the process of writing a book, and I want to encourage him because he has so much that he can share with us. And I don't think he has fear, but in case it is, a vision board might help, where you can cut out things and like a book, and you can paste it on there and then write some positive things down that you know that you want to add inside that book. Sometimes it's people wanting to have a complete career change, and they're going from one career to another career. And if they allow fear to overtake them, they would not be able to move and progress into their authentic self and live out their life purpose. We all have a purpose and a reason for being here, and that fear is the thing that will sometimes get in our way and stop us from accomplishing that of which we're supposed to, or either slowing us down. So fear is something that we need to all decide that we're going to kick it to the side. Another thing is believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, because sometimes no one else will. And if you don't believe in yourself, then who else will? I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you really do have to believe that you can accomplish things, that you can do it. Believe that you can, if you can see it and believe it, then they say that you can accomplish it. A huge one is don't compare yourself to others. We're all unique in our own way. So it doesn't matter what your neighbors are doing or what the person down the street on the next block is doing or another family member. You have to just be you. Be you. Be true to yourself. And you are a unique person. There's nobody else in this world like you. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. That's something that we have to try to put ourselves in a position, a mindset where we stop that, and we have to live our life and be the best that we can be, and we can't compare our lives to somebody else's life, because comparing sometimes, or trying to keep up with the Joneses, will set you back. Even for people that buy a bunch of fake name brand or just name brand period, sometimes people buy that because they want to be accepted. They want to be looked or viewed at in a way where people look at them and say, oh, you have money because you have your Gucci, or you have your Coach, or you have this or that. But some of the people who have the most money don't have a fear of being judged in that way, and they're rich and they don't wear a bunch of name brands all over their body. You're rich too on the inside. Just because it may not be in a monetary way does not mean that you're not rich. And you have to remember that. Sometimes it takes stepping outside of our circle. If we step outside of our current circle, sometimes we can get a support group to be there and help us along our journey. So it's about also finding people who are encouraging and who are supportive. Another thing is you cannot be afraid to fail, because that means you're already defeated before you even would get started. So those are some of the things I want to share with you guys, and also let you know that I know that a lot of times I say and all of that, and I'm working on it. I am a work in progress, but I did not allow that to stop me from making this podcast. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me for the first show, and I hope that you have found that fear is the thing that's in your way. If you are working on something and you haven't been able to get it done, being able to recognize if it is fear or not is what I'm saying. And so I wish you guys the best of luck, and make sure that you make up your mind. It's time to make up your mind and move forward and understand that you only have one life to live. And anything that's worth having, it takes a little bit of work to obtain. So I want you to say bye to that fear and pack up a box and move fear back in that U-Haul truck or that 18-wheeler or that pickup truck, however it came to you, and send it on its way. Please remember that fear can paralyze you, and it can give you an attitude of I can't. This is the type of fear that keeps us from moving forward. Fear shuts our brain down. I want you to picture yourself as being unafraid. Visualize this. Visualize the role or position that you're wanting to reach. Keep that feeling with you, and then this will help you to remove fear. Practice until you get it right. Remember, let's confront fear, evict fear, move forward, deal with fear head on. I'm cheering for you. I'm cheering you on. I'm Shantae with Authentic Talks.